Hello again. It's me, the snarky juror. We are in, I don't know. I don't know if this is considered day two. We're 24 hours into verdict watch. Verdict watch. And some shenanigans have been going on. At least that's what my Twitter feed says. And I'm still trying to wake up myself. We're going to do something a little different today than what I normally do because stuff is still happening. The verdict may be in, but the jury went to lunch, I think. I don't know if that's what the situation is or not. But am I sharing this live? Yes, I am. All right. Here's the thing. Earlier today, see, I don't know how up to date this is. I don't know. I'm going to get rid of the chat because that can be distracting. But lawyers brought forward something earlier today.
And I will tell them that a new verdict slip will come into them. How's that? I do, though, have to make a finding that the verdict slip as is was proper. All right, so we'll just leave it at that. I'll make the amendment that you want, but that's my finding.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just from a logistics standpoint, once the new verdict slip is prepared and ready,
we all need to see it.
I was just going to ask, can we have that emailed to us or something?
Yeah, we all need to see it. I will work with Tori. All right. Can we bring the jurors in, please? Oh, I'm sorry. What suggested language on the CERT report?
I'm sorry, Judge.
Any suggest?
Okay, I'll have to find the actual thing where Alan Jackson brought forward the problem on the verdict form of there's no not guilty to lesser charges. Can be confusing. It does not indicate that if you vote not guilty at the top for the primary charge, that you don't have to worry about the lesser charges. Okay. But it's not clear. So he brought it forward. Things got heated. I'll try to find that. And then since then, the jury requested the CERT report that the search and, the rescue, analytical team that came out. What was their, they want to see their report. There isn't one. It was never put into evidence if there is one, but there wasn't one. The jury has all the evidence that was submitted as evidence. And that wasn't in there. And somewhere I read that reports are not evidence. They're considered hearsay. I don't know.
Language on their question.
No, I think the court's correct that in terms of the CERT report request, the court's answer is right on point, which is you are directed to you're directed to review the evidence that's in front of you, and that's it.
I'm just going to say you have all the evidence in this case. We will not give you anything. Okay.
We're going to wait and see what goes on here. And then I'm going to find my Twitter feed and bring up some of that. We are in day 32 of Massachusetts versus Karen Reed. The jury is deliberating. I guess to bring the jury in to do some clarification on some things or to answer their questions.
All right. So, jurors, we're in receipt of your question. Can we request the CERT report detailing the search performed? I take this as a request, and the answer is that you folks, you have all the evidence in the case. So what you have is the evidence in the case. You won't be receiving any additional evidence. But as long as I have you here, I want to clarify my instructions regarding your verdict as to count 2 of the indictment. As I instructed you yesterday, there are 2 lesser offenses of that crime, which are involuntary manslaughter and motor vehicle homicide, felony OUI, liquor, and negligence. Therefore, count 2 encompasses 3 separate charges, the most serious of which is manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. In considering count 2, you should first focus on the crime of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, and if the Commonwealth has failed to prove that crime beyond a reasonable doubt, then you are to consider the remaining lesser included offenses in descending order. So, the lead charge is manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. If you find that the Commonwealth has proven all 5 elements of this charge beyond a reasonable doubt, then your verdict shall be guilty of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor. If, however, you find that the Commonwealth has not proven all 5 elements of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor, then you are to consider whether the Commonwealth has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the 3 elements of the lesser included offense of involuntary manslaughter. If the Commonwealth has proven the 3 elements of involuntary manslaughter, then your verdict shall be guilty on the lesser included offense of involuntary manslaughter.
Clear as
If,
mud.
however, you find the Commonwealth has failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the crime of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor and the lesser included offense of involuntary manslaughter, then you are to consider whether the Commonwealth has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the 5 elements of motor vehicle homicide, felony, OUI, liquor, and negligence. If the Commonwealth has proven beyond a reasonable doubt the 5 elements of motor vehicle homicide, then your verdict shall be guilty of the lesser included offense of motor vehicle homicide, OUI, liquor, and negligence. If, however, the Commonwealth has failed to prove beyond a reasonable doubt all the elements of manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence of liquor and has failed to prove all the elements of the lesser included offenses of involuntary manslaughter or motor vehicle homicide, felony, OUI, liquor, and negligence, then your verdict must be not guilty to count 2. So I'm going to send in a new verdict slip on count 2 that's just a little bit different, and we have to sort of change we have to indent something and change the spacing a little bit to make it a little bit clearer for you. Okay, so we'll get that into you in the next 10 minutes. All right, thank you all very much.
Clear as mud. And did you notice how slanted it is towards guilty? The defendant is not presumed innocent. That should be the lead. I don't know about these people. These people. Okay, I don't know why the other thing didn't come up first. So I may have to go to a different feed. Jury's in 5 hours, 17 minutes of deliberation. Come on, Court T. Where's the other thing? All right, what's this? What's this? We're doing some exploring live on Memorex.
You are unmuted.
I appreciate that. I better check too. Am I unmuted? Yes.
Back in session, you may be seated. Judge, we're back on the record on 22-117. Counsel have both had an opportunity to look at the new verdict slip.
All right, so does the defense say the verdict slip's in order?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you, and we appreciate the call.
Okay, does the Commonwealth say the verdict slip's in order?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so the verdict slip will go in. Officer Delano, I'll let you do what you're doing. All right, so the verdict slip will go into the jury. I instruct you or Officer Leiden to remove verdict slip for count number 2 from the jury, have the jurors fold it, put it in an envelope, and seal it. And we'll bring that in and we'll mark that for identification. I'm also going to send in a transcript of the supplemental instruction I gave this morning. May we mark that? Madam Court Reporter, please. I have copies for counsel if you'd like. Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So with that, we'll be in recess. And you'll remember that the jurors were instructed that we won't take any questions or verdict during 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Okay.
I missed that last part.
The jurors were instructed in the instructions I gave yesterday that we will not take a verdict or a question from 1 to 2. So everybody's free to go for lunch.
All rise for the court, please.
Okay. All right. Right now, currently, it's 1:27. So nothing more should be coming. So I don't know why somebody said the verdict is in. What does this say? Oh, don't start now. Other people have had a lot of trouble with court TV. Come on. Am I paused or am I? Let me check. Okay, I'm still recording. There's still that. But it stopped its. Okay, that's just reminding everybody what the charges are. Murder in the second degree is charge 1. Charge 2, manslaughter while operating a motor vehicle under the influence. And charge 3 is leaving the scene of accident resulting in death. I don't know why they're saying deliberations have continued during a lunch break. We're getting different things at different times from different sources. Well, everybody's anxious for the verdict, and that in any court trial that I've seen, that's normal. All right. I am going to, I'll keep that going. We'll keep checking back in on that. But I want to go find my Twitter feed. How did I get to it? I'm on a different computer than what I normally am. So, I mean, let's see what's going on Law and Crime. No, they've got the fan up as well. But NBC 10 Boston, the fan is up. NBC 10, whatever that is, WJAR, the fan is up. How do I get to my Twitter feed from here? Yeah, I can't think. That's the problem with having an old brain and one that's full of fibro fog. And mail wouldn't be there. Facebook wouldn't be there. Hotmail wouldn't be there. Problem is, I don't know what my Twitter login is. So if I just go to Twitter, I don't know if it will recognize my ha ha ha. All right. Here, I can bring this in. Once I go back to the studio, and I have to stop screen on that in order to bring in a new share screen. Okay, here's Twitter. This is my Twitter account. I think I can share my Twitter account. No, we don't want that. We want this. Okay. I will play what I saw on Twitter, if I can get back to it. Okay, Sleuthy, what are you talking about? At Sleuthy Goosey, I just recently came across her stuff. So what is she talking about? There's a Jennifer McCabe who posted on Law and Crime. I received multiple calls from relatives and friends of the jurors informing me that the jury has reached a guilty verdict and is now just having lunch. We finally have justice for our friend John. I call BS on that. I call BS on that. Okay, let's go back. Oh, now she says the jurors are now enjoying pizza and chicken parmesan from D&E for free, thanks to Chris. If any of that is true. You want to talk about intimidating and influencing the jury. Let's see if I can find. These people are so slanted in their reporting. Karen Reed is in full meltdown. She's upset because the judge had no right. If I can find. I need to know who slapped Bev's hand. There's absolutely no way she went back to chambers. And she all of a sudden realized that Alan Jackson was right and she was wrong. Let's see if this is what I saw earlier.
Guilty. If they don't check block 2, 3, or 4, the verdict's next block, they don't check the block.
No,
that
that's
says
not the whole
guilty,
thing.
and
I think this is it.
Under count 2.
I said that it made sense to me. I said I was tired and I needed to think about it.
You said before you retired and you needed to think about it was you agreed that there needs to be not guilty options for subordinate charges.
No.
Under count 2.
I said that it made sense to me, but no, I did not change it upon looking at it because the verdict slip, this verdict slip as submitted to the jury, is exactly how it always is in Massachusetts.
I ask you a question. I don't really care how it always is in Massachusetts. I care about whether or not it's appropriate.
It's appropriate.
Different things.
It's appropriate.
Let me make my argument, if you would mind, Judge, why it's not appropriate. For a superior charge, they have to decide that she is not guilty of the superior charge, and that is the starting point of whether or not she is guilty or not guilty of any subordinate charge, often called a lesser included. Once they decide that she's not guilty of the superior charge, now there's two additional charges that they've been instructed they must decide whether she's guilty or not guilty. How do they decide that she's not guilty of the first subordinate charge, involuntary manslaughter?
Okay. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Jackson?
I'd like an answer from the court. How do they decide that she's not guilty of involuntary manslaughter on that
Right.
verdict?
That's their decision to make.
And how do they make it if they don't have an option to check a box that says not guilty?
They don't check the box that says guilty, do they? And then when they go to the next block, they don't check the block that says guilty, and on the top you're left with not guilty. Okay?
So it's the absence of the check mark that the court determines is the not guilty finding by the jury.
Yes, that's what the verdict slip reads. It reads not guilty. If they don't check block 2, 3, or 4, the verdict slip reads not guilty. Okay? That's how it is, Mr. Jackson.
Well, apparently that's how it's going to be because of the court's order. That is not how it should be, and it's over our strong objection. They need to see that there is a not guilty option for the subordinate charges. If they come back guilty on, for instance, involuntary manslaughter, that's immediately appealable. They didn't have an option on the verdict form to find her not guilty. It's almost like the court is directing a verdict of the subordinate charges.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, that wasn't the whole thing.
I said I was tired.
Sorry. Okay. How do I get back? That's how I get back. That wasn't. Let's see if I can find it. Can't tell if it's thundering outside or not. There was more. There was more. And I can't find the right feed. That's cute. Look, Mom, I'm scaring them. And Mom's behind them going, that's cute. I just want my dad to walk me home today. Oh, how cute. cute. I know, squirrel. I don't know where it went. Karen Reed either grimaced or went, yeah, right, but she shook her head. Is Emily? Deep Baker pinning? Pinning. Let's see. I don't think on my feet very well. The jury wanted to see the CERT report. I got sidetracked again. CERT. There it is. I want to see what she's. That was 4 hours ago. That's 21 hours ago. Emily? Wow. That's disappointing. I've got my thing right here. All right. Let's go to I sure hope I'm sharing this. Doctor, here we go. Did he share it? An hour ago. Larry Foreman, he's been doing good stuff as well. He shows how most forms say we find the defendant not guilty of the offense charged or any lesser included offense. That's how it's normally done. And even in the samples people have been sharing about other Massachusetts. Here we go.
She's not guilty of the superior charge. Now there's two additional charges that they've been instructed they must decide whether she's guilty or not guilty. How do they decide that she's not guilty of the first subordinate charge, involuntary manslaughter?
Okay. Anything else you want to say, Mr. Jackson?
I'd like an answer from the court. How do they decide that she's not guilty of involuntary manslaughter on that verdict?
That's their decision to make.
And how do they make it if they don't have an option to check a box that says not guilty?
They don't check the box that says guilty, do they? And then when they go to the next block, they don't check the block that says guilty. And on the top, you're left with not guilty. Okay?
So it's the absence of the check mark that the court determines is the not guilty finding by the jury.
Yes, that's what the verdict slip reads. It reads not guilty. If they don't check block 2, 3, or 4, the verdict slip reads not guilty.
But it's
okay?
not obvious to people.
That's how it is, Mr. Jackson.
Well, apparently that's how it's going to be because of the court's order. That is not how it should be, and it's over our strong objection. They need to see that there is a not guilty option for the subordinate charges. If they come back guilty on, for instance, involuntary manslaughter, that's immediately appealable. They didn't have an option on the verdict form to find her not guilty. It's almost like the court is directing a verdict of the subordinate charges.
Okay. I disagree with you. Ms. Giannetti, you've seen verdict slips exactly like this. Okay?
I actually haven't really.
Have you had no lesser includeds?
No, we've always had lesser included, but I have not seen a verdict slip there where not guilty is not an option.
Okay. I disagree with you. All right,
I don't see.
excuse me, this is funny, Ms. Reed? All right, we're done.
All rise for the court, please.
Probably a, oh my God type smirk. All right. You know this guy is Turtle Boy, and I just shared from his Twitter feed. Now, according to him, 4 hours ago, there was just a huge blow up between Alan Jackson and clerk Jim McDermott over whether or not something was on the record. McDermott stormed out of the courtroom. Karen Reed said something to him as well. Not sure what's going on, but clearly shenanigans
How did they decide?
are afoot. Sorry. But here's also what I just discovered. Juror 13 and 12 sat right behind Juror 3. They would frequently have friendly talk during breaks and appeared to get along well. They were the 3 jurors called by Canone to sidebar last week when there was an issue with Juror 5, indicating that they had reported her for something. Yesterday, the 3 jurors eliminated were 3, 12, and 13. The odds of those 3 being chosen not to be on the jury are astronomical. I'm still certain it's going to be not guilty, but there's nothing this corrupt court won't do to make that more difficult for Karen Reed. And knowing that, the odds of that, he's right. That's astronomical. Alrighty, so what else was I going to do? I was going to find who said, and this was 58 minutes ago. Let me go find somebody else that I follow. That's not her handle. It is her handle. I've got fat fingers, and you know what happens with people who have fat fingers? Crazy stuff happens. Okay, where'd it go? See what I mean? Now I can't find it. Because my fat finger took me somewhere I didn't want to go. Somebody posted, breaking news, a CERT report has been located and given to the jury. And this is what it looks like. That's the CERT report. Okay, anyway. What was her name? Let's try this again. All right, get rid of at. There it is. Oh, Kay Reed is innocent. Karen and team, that's 4 hours ago. Now, come on. Yes, there's thunder going on here. I agree with this person. I'm surprised it took Karen Reed until today to laugh in the judge's face. She has a lot more self-control than 98% of us. Okay, I think. So you heard something, you said something, and it turns out to be incorrect. Correct. You are a real human being, and we all make mistakes, and that's okay. When you fess up to it, yeah. Which she did. Yeah, 43 minutes ago. I'm not an actual reporter. I do this willingly on my own for the purpose of supporting Karen. If you're upset, unfollow me. It's that simple. Everyone out here was screaming, a verdict is in, and at that exact moment, Karen just got into the courtroom. So, obviously, she got caught up in misinformation. And so did I, because that's why I'm doing this now. But I also wanted to share the it's not a protest, but what am I trying to say? I don't know what I'm trying to say. The objection that Alan Jackson had, and I already shared that, she did come back and admit that, okay, we'll put this on here, even though she really didn't want to. And somewhere else on Twitter, let me get rid of Twitter. Too many buttons. I did want to share that. Let's check and make sure nothing else has happened. Nope. It's still going on. There is no fan showing. I wanted to share that stuff is happening, that the jury asked for the CERT report. They may be going over what Alan Jackson had said, so, it's supposed to be 3 pieces total. And all of a sudden now there's 5 when they pull it out of the thing. Well, that's an interesting thought, that they are going through what Alan Jackson presented. They were paying attention to Alan Jackson. Because isn't that where he came up with that from, was from the CERT report? And then they get the evidence bags. Now they have the evidence bags that they can, I don't think they can open them. I don't think. But they can look on the outside and see what's there. And I think they can open them. I think the evidence, I think maybe the deputies have to do it, have to pull out what's inside with gloves and show, what's in there. Maybe I'll Google that and see. Under normal circumstances, we know this is not normal circumstances. Getting back to what I was trying to say is I wanted to share that there are controversies still going on. When Karen Reed made whatever, she didn't say anything. She probably had one of those disgusted smiles, She's been holding it together pretty damn good. But anyway, a lot of people have said, again, I'm going around and around in circles. I wanted to show the controversies that are going on because it's part of my record of following this trial. So I wanted to make sure it was on here. And then especially when I saw someone say the verdict is in, it was like, oh, I better get my butt in gear and get something happening. I was just checking. I'm sorry. I'm new at this. Can you tell? So I wanted to make sure that Alan Jackson's objection was part of my record and what the jury's doing. Now, I don't know if I'm just going to pause this and wait for the verdict to come in. People are nervous that it's taking time, but if they're going over the evidence, I've heard from several people who have been prosecutors and have spent a lot of time in court that just about 99.9% of the juries take their responsibility very, very seriously. They don't go in there and wing it, okay? I think they are double checking stuff because otherwise it's to them it's not a slam dunk. They may already think something, but they're upholding what they swore to do. Or there's a mole. When the McAlberts lined up right across from them during closing arguments, you think that wasn't intimidation? You think that wasn't, you better think twice about what you're going to do. You think that wasn't, I won't even call it subtle, it's right there in your face, intimidation. Colin Albert hasn't been anywhere near that courthouse, and all of a sudden he shows up on closing arguments. Jennifer McCabe, I can understand. I can even understand Brian Albert because they both of them testified, but they haven't been back to the courthouse since that all happened. Why now? Let's see. What time is it? It's 1:58. We'll wait until maybe 2 o'clock and see if there's anything new that comes in. Okay. Okay, it's nothing new. It's what we've just been going over. I wonder how long I can pause this. Or what else we can explore. I'm trying to think. Once I either end this or I'm going to go ahead and end it and post it. It could be hours yet because the jury did ask if they could end deliberations at 4. Someone had a prior thing, and up until now, they've always ended court by 4. So people have been scheduling accordingly. So I don't think that was, but it makes you think they're going to still be deliberating for another 2 hours. Well, it's 2 o'clock now. What is court TV saying? We're 7 hours into deliberations. You know, if I end this, something will happen. You know, did I even show that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I didn't. Where'd it go? Why isn't it on this one? Verdict clock, 7 hours, 1 minute, 21, and that was a minute or two ago. So, they should be returning from lunch now, or finishing their lunch, and going back into deliberations. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this here, less than an hour, and wait and see what happens next, basically. So this will be A. Excuse me. And then as stuff comes in, I'll add a B or a C or whatever. So we will end here. I pray to God that the truth comes back in the jury's verdict. The truth. And in my mind, Karen Reed is innocent because her car, with her at the wheel, did not make contact with John O'Keefe. We know what's really going on. We don't have to prove it. There is a huge amount of reasonable doubt in this case, and that is the defining factor. So here's, please, Father, I ask in the name of Jesus, amen, that the right verdict gets returned. The correct verdict gets returned. And please protect the jurors from any kind of intimidation or backlash from that mafia that has a stranglehold on that community. Okay. I'm getting political again. We'll leave it there for now. So, until I pop back on, you take care, and God bless.